Hey, friends, welcome back to yet another exciting episode of Show Me the Collectibles. Today we have our friend Ron in studio. Now we have a new sponsor here at Show Me the Collectibles, and that's Wrestling from the 313. You got to go over and check out their Facebook. He's a new up-and-coming podcast, a friend of Friends of the Squared Circle, where I also have a podcast where we interview fans of pro wrestling. But today we are talking collectibles. Ron, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just hanging out. I'm really looking forward to this. It's the first time I've had any type of interview or
Oh,
discussion
okay.
about my collectibles that weren't just like a live stream.
Gotcha. Now, we met through TikTok. You guys got to check out his page. He's showing off all of his collectibles there. I kind of, roped him into showing a few today. But, yeah, great channel. You always comment on my videos. You give your opinion, and I love it. So I appreciate you coming on today. So.
Well, to be fair, you kind of sugarcoat me into it. You give me great things to argue about. And when you look like me, arguing on the internet's kind of your whole bread and butter.
Yep. I try to keep it, a good argument versus, all that other drama that's out there right now, especially in our wrestling scene here. There's some issues, but I just try to stay out of it. So, but yeah, let's dive into those collectibles, sir, and let's show off those beautiful toys of yours.
By all means. First thing I want to show off today, it's a new collection I'm getting into. It's these Mario plushes.
Okay.
So there's a company in Japan that makes these. They're called Sine. And as a kid, I never liked stuffed animals or plushies because I never thought they looked like the characters. But they've been doing like Mario and other Nintendo characters, and they look perfect.
Very nice.
Like it looks better than like figures you can get of these characters. And they've done like everyone. You can get like Bob-ombs and Chain Chomps and all the Koopa kids. I grabbed Koopa Troopa here because that's who I always play as in Mario Kart. But I just love these things.
Yeah. Gotcha. I'm a Wario guy through and through. I think it's because he's purple. I like, it's my favorite football team's colors. And he's just that, sinister villain with the big mustache. So.
Oh yeah.
Huge Wario fan here. So, and that we have a house rule when we play the Mario games that no one's allowed to take Wario unless it's me. So.
My brother-in-law is like that.
Okay,
His two are Roy and Wario. Those two are off the table for everyone else because he's phoned those two.
Yeah. And sometimes his stats are so bad, like the speed or, because he's the bigger guy or in the golf game, he's got more power or stuff like that. But, I just think it's a great character. I've never really played the games, but definitely one of my favorite characters in the Mario universe. So
he has so much personality, too. Like, even if you don't play the games, like you play the spin-off games, you tell so much about who that guy is just from like how he acts and interacts.
Yeah, and every time he would score in like strikers, he's shaking his butt or, just being, so.
Yeah.
So anytime I post a picture that I win in Mario Party, he's like, well, did you win? Well, it's Wario. You should know by now that I've already won. So.
That's good.
I don't know if you've seen the new movie. I haven't. It'd be cool if they put those guys in the universe for sure. So
I saw the movie. It was really solid. I don't think it's not like a Wall-E or like those Pixar movies where it's like I had to reevaluate my life afterwards, but it was a lot of fun.
Makes sense.
It'd be cool if they brought like Wario and like Waluigi in. They could be like Team Rocket for Bowser, just failing at everything.
I'll ignore that because Wario doesn't fail. Just kidding. So. All right, now that we kind of went down a rabbit hole, continue. Sorry. Sometimes we get a little distracted.
I'm trying to figure out where I want to go next. I'm going to go with this next because I got a couple of weirdo picks. So kind of like Mario, I'm a huge fan of like Disney 2D animation.
Okay.
McFarlane has this new line. I think it's called like Mirrorverse, and it's for like an app game where they've just given like 90s as hell edgy redesigns to all the Disney characters.
Okay.
They did Captain Hook from Peter Pan.
Oh, very nice.
And he like skinned TikTok the Croc and is now wearing him as armor. It is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but I love it.
Yeah, because I know he's always afraid of that character in the movies and such. So
yeah,
weird.
It's so weird to me that to see a character who is defined by being such a goofy moron, and now he's like, yeah, I just skinned the dude, wearing his armor, whatever. I have his teeth on my sword now.
Wow.
And I've always liked Captain Hook. I've wanted a good figure of him forever, and Disney just doesn't do like collectible figures that often. Like they've gone to a point now where Super 7 is putting out some stuff, and I guess McFarlane's also doing this line. I don't really want many of these McFarlane figures. I think a lot of them look kind of bad. And I don't think this figure necessarily looks good, but I adore how, like, I want to know where the inspiration came from.
Yeah, and the backstory.
Yeah, I would love to sit down with whoever was the designer of this figure, because it's a really well designed figure. The sculpting's great and the articulation's good. The likeness to Captain Hook is incredible. It's just like I want to know, like, did Disney know? Did Disney had to approve it?
Yep.
That they killed one of the principal characters from the Peter Pan movies, and
Mhm.
now he's just adorning Captain Hook's cloak. It's great.
Yeah, and the nice thing too, I know for a while there they were doing villain backstories and like their perspective of how they got to where they were. It's a pretty cool concept because how many times can you shove Mickey and Goofy and all those guys, out there as well as the other movies, and I know there's that is a Descendants that's on Disney that has the children of
Yeah,
the villains, which is kind of a new concept. So I thought that was kind of cool. I haven't watched any of that, but I like the idea behind it. So
I think it's a cool idea. And there's characters like I legitimately am curious like how they work out. Sometimes it's cool. Like I remember like there were parts of the Maleficent movies that were kind of interesting.
okay,
But then some, like that Cruella movie, was really rough because like her tragic backstory was something like, my mom got pushed off a cliff by 1,001 Dalmatians, so thus I hate Dalmatians.
yeah,
So it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum of how these people became this way.
hmm
Um, I don't know. I'm curious what Captain Hook's story is because like in the books, like the original Peter Pan books, he apparently was shipmates with Long John Silver,
okay,
so the bad guy from Treasure Island.
hmm
So if you ever want to do that Treasure Planet sequel,
right. That is such an underrated movie.
yeah,
I love Treasure Planet. They just came out with the Funko Pop where he's riding the ship or whatever. And I
yeah,
looked at it every time we went to Walmart, and I told my wife, I was like, "Don't buy it for me. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole with Funko Pops." But every time we go there, I would look at it and just be like, "Well, I mean, it is only $20." But I just, if I get one, then I'm going to want to get if they get more, and yeah.
mm. No, so not Funko Pops, but I keep looking back. Apparently, they did an action figure line for that movie that didn't do super well. Uh,
Oh, okay.
and I know they did Silver. They did the pirate captain, like the
hmm
cyborg, and he looks really cool. The face is a little weird because he has like a like action face
Okay.
and a missile firing arm. And it's not super expensive, but it's just expensive enough where it's like I don't know if I need a figure that I'm gonna laugh at. But so
I'm
that's
gonna
a,
have to totally look those up on eBay after this. So
yeah. And I know for a fact they did like a million morphs. Like I had a morph stuffed animal as a kid.
yeah, I definitely want a morph tattoo to go on my sleeve. I always thought he was kind of funny.
That'd be cool.
And then the robot that was towards the end of it too, where
Bent.
yeah, I always
Yeah.
liked that character a lot too. So
No, and then he was Martin Short, right? Or am I crazy?
yes, yep,
Yeah.
the voice acting, yep.
Yeah.
That would be. I mean, well, nowadays they're bringing back everything. They're redoing the Mermaid.
Yeah.
They're doing the Lion King, Jungle Books live action.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, give me live action Treasure Planet because with what Avatar can do, Star Wars can do, I'm sure we can pull this off. And Disney's got the money behind it to make it work. So
Oh, totally. And it would make sense if they want to keep doing live action movies, they're going to run out of their classics eventually. Why not
mhm.
do things that maybe didn't do super well when they first came
Yep.
out?
Because even Atlantis, that's another great movie that doesn't get enough love.
Mm,
That would make an awesome, live action, you
mm.
know. And I would totally, I know Gordon Levitt's a lot older than he, portrays in the movie, but back to the Treasure Planet, he could still pull it off. Just give him a little bit of CGI to make him not look as old, but I think he can still pull it off.
We're advocating for deep faking actors. I love this.
Mhm. I that is one movie that like I made the wife watch. She's like,
Yeah.
"Wow, that's really good." I was like, "Yeah, like You know, it was right at the end of that I think they called it the Renaissance period
Yeah.
for like the art style, and then it went to more like Toy Story, you know, and then you had Shrek, and all those other ones blew up. So it kind of got lost in that transition. And you know, it's just so sad that it doesn't get enough love or enough merchandise. I mean,
Mm.
like I said, I mean with Funko Pops, you know, with that you get like 700 Mickeys, but you can't do something a little obscure like, you know, more of the Treasure Planet. So
Yeah. And it would be cool. Um, but tell you what, we're talking about obscure. I got a pretty obscure character. Not a lot of people know about this. Only real comic book fans would be aware of this guy. Kind of lost to time. Not really seen much since like the golden age of comics. Guy's name is Bruce Wayne, Batman. You know, only real fans know about this kind of deep cut,
I
and that's
think I've heard of
McFarlane.
him. I think I've seen him on a few things.
Yeah, you know, he's like Doctor Fate. I think he shows up just every now and again, like in covers and
Yeah,
background.
he could
Um,
be mainstream.
um, but no, so the DC multiverse line, like aside from Pokemon and wrestling, DC is like my main thing to collect.
Okay.
And I have always wanted a good Michael Keaton Batman, and they've made those figures. But like when the NECA version came out, I was super young, and now I can't afford it. I think Beast Kingdom did one that I can't
Okay.
afford. Hot Toys did one that I can't afford. But hey, McFarlane made one, and like this figure has not left my desk. I've had it for a few weeks now, and I adore it. I think it's like the best built multiverse figure I bought. I have no loose joints, no issues with accessories. It has a cloth cape, which McFarlane typically doesn't do that for the DC figures, but they did it for this Batman, which is awesome because you can get him in like the I am the Knight pose, like
Hmm.
with the cape out, um, or like have him like kind of covering his face as he sometimes does in the comics with the cape, make it just the eyes.
Very
Um,
nice.
and it's just so good. There's such a presence with this figure. Like when I do pose him and I just leave him on the table, I just like wrap the cape around him. So
Hmm.
he's just like in the standing pose he's in, like when he first shows up on screen. And it looks good in any pose. And the head sculpt is phenomenal.
Nice.
Um,
Big bad ears as well.
the big bad ears, yeah.
Hmm.
And it's weird because you look at comic book characters and it's like after their movie, they typically get like redesigned to look more like the movie. Batman never did that because like this movie came out and Batman was still like gray with the yellow oval and sometimes like
Hmm.
blue as a cowl, black as a cowl. They never did him in like the all black until like recently, and that was kind of as a Christian Bale thing as opposed to a
Hmm.
Michael Keaton thing. Um, and I've always been curious like why this didn't become like a more standard design because I really like this as a look for
Yeah,
Batman.
I think it looks more serious. You know, leads into more of the Dark Knight, like you said. You know, and yeah, it just screams badass.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, you know, with Adam West and that like that blue and black, like you said, you don't take it as seriously. It's more childish, and that was one thing I was going to bring up is like the Ninja Turtles and the first couple Batman movies. You know, they're geared kind of towards kids, but they're really dark. You know, like
Yeah,
I still kind of get a little weirded out by Danny DeVito as the Penguin in that movie because, like, you know, he's like half fish. Like it's creepy. Yeah,
his plan is to murder babies.
yeah,
Like it's the most evil you could possibly be. He wants to take the firstborn of every Gotham family.
yeah. It's and then it baffles me how like they marketed that towards kids a little bit. You
Oh
know, and
yeah,
that Ninja Turtles one too. That's pretty dark. You know,
yeah.
so
And I never
they're
realized that because
yeah.
I didn't watch that movie till recently. But you go
Oh,
back and
okay.
watch it, like they are. It's literally a movie about like a weird cult that finds like low income children. It's like, hey,
Hmm.
join our militia. We're gonna start hunting down people who don't look like us.
Yep.
Like it's
And then
messed
they
up.
just turn them into ninjas. Like it's
Yeah.
oh, you're a pickpocketed, you know, 12-year-old who steals cigarettes.
Mhm.
You can be a ninja if if you go move up the ranks. You know, like I just remember that like scene vividly. They're playing video games. They're skateboarding. There's music, and you know they're smoking. It's like, wow, that's what kids do. Like, I never smoked, but I'm glad I never did. But like, I just was like, wow, like that's what bad kids do, like so.
It's a very well-known pipeline. You start smoking, next thing you know, you're like wearing a skull mask trying to kill turtles. It's
Yeah,
just what
and
happens.
imagine that. Like, you're like, oh well, they want me to steal TVs now. They want me to fight these like 5-foot turtles.
Yeah.
Um, Something's wrong here. Like, I don't want to tell an adult what I do, but like, I feel like I need to tell someone that there's 4 turtles running around, stopping crime, and then there's a rat tied up to a chain, um, in the where we hang out. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
My favorite thing about it is like I don't know what I'd be more weirded out by, the rat or the dude who looks like a cheese shredder who is demanding that everyone calls him dad. I
Yeah,
don't know which one of those like skeeves me out more.
crazy. Yeah.
um,
I mean, I love the movies. Don't get me wrong, but it's just okay, And then April just invites 4, alien type things into her apartment. Like, oh, this is normal.
yeah.
No big deal. I think the only one that seems to have an issue with it is Casey Jones. Like, you're kind of a freak. I'm gonna beat you up. Like so.
Well,
Yeah.
dude, you gotta think they live in New York. They're not the 4 weirdest dudes that Casey or April.
True. Yep. And
Yeah.
what's his backstory? Like, you just go to Goodwill and get all your weapons, and run around at night with a hockey mask on. I don't. It's yeah,
As you
too
do.
funny. Too
That's what
funny.
the '90s were in New York. I thought. Um, you know what? No, I'm going to double down on that. I know that's what the '90s were like in New York because look at the WWF, right? You had like Knuckleball Schwartz, who was there during the baseball strike. You had
Yeah.
Goon, um,
The Repo Man. You
the
got
Repo
the
Man,
Duke the Dumpster Draws, and yeah.
TL Hopper, the plumber.
Oh, yeah.
He needed
Yep.
more money.
Bastion Booger, and yeah.
Oh, not Bastion Booger. I do my best to not think about Bastion Booger. But
What were we thinking?
no, speaking about '90s wrestling, I actually got like one of my holy grails recently, and I really wanted to show him off.
Okay.
It's I think this is Series 8 Hasbro Bret Hart.
Okay.
Bret Hart, my favorite wrestler of all time. I adore him. I adore his matches. I adore like even his promos. Because don't get me wrong, he wasn't great on the mic, but he was believable on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Because to
I'll give
me,
him that.
I was also like a boxing fan growing up, and you like listen to boxers as they're like talking about each other. They don't sound that coherent either. Like they're not there to talk; they're there to fight. So to me,
Mm-hmm.
the idea that Brett wasn't great at talking just like reaffirmed, like, oh, he's the serious one. He's the one that's just here to win and like prove he's the best because he doesn't need to take the extra time to like make sure his verbiage is great. That's not his focus right now. Um, and the Hasbros I adore. I've been
Mm-hmm.
collecting them on and off for a few years. They're getting harder to come by. Brett goes for a bit of money, but I found him at a flea market and he just looks perfect. I love his sneer, his silver glasses, the orange like tan on his skin
Mm-hmm.
colors. Um, it's cool. It's so cool to have like if I could have only like picked one Bret Hart figure I didn't own and like get in my collection. It was like I wanted this or I wanted the LJN.
Okay.
Having this, it's like this is like a major hole now. Like I'm more satisfied with my Hasbro shelf with this guy on it.
Yeah, I found a bag at a like secondhand store, and it had like the Hogans, the Road Warriors, Ultimate Warrior, and I'm like, man, these are like $60 a pop sitting here. And I was like, I'll give you $50 for the bag. He's like, oh, I haven't priced that yet. I was like, damn it. Because I those were some of the first ones I ever played with. My buddy Mike, who I met as a kid, invited me over to play Sega and stuff, and then he's just like, oh, well, I have these action figures. And it was just weird to me that the action figures and the video game, so I just thought they were characters until I saw it on TV, and I was like, holy cow, this is real stuff. But yeah, Hasbro ones, I really want to get the Dusty Rhodes one. I'm a huge Rhodes fan here. I remember finding one on eBay. It was like $60 and it was missing an arm. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, one day I hope to find that, or even one that's, I know that like the Ninja Turtles, they're re-releasing them.
Mm,
So I would love just to get one, even if it's a re-release. Uh, I want to get. I got a Gold Dust one. You can't see it back here, but I got that one when they did the relaunch.
yeah.
They have an NWO pack out with X Pac,
Mm.
Hogan's, and Hall and Nash. I want those so bad, but it's
They
just
look.
like I don't want to open another box of just going down a rabbit hole. I'm trying to keep it to just Dustin Rhodes,
Mhm.
the local guy Superior here, Otis, and then just getting my biographies signed, and then
Yeah.
all the local guys from Minnesota, if they got stuff that comes out, I grab their stuff. But yeah, it's it's crazy.
I wish I had that self control. I'm still like in that spot where it's like, oh, they did a Ultimate Bret Hart. I think I need three.
Yeah.
I need one with everything on. Then I need some with just the glasses on, and then I need one with nothing on. And that's a reasonable amount, I think.
Do you remember like we were talking about like like the baseball gimmick, the dumpster guy? Do you remember the goon, the
Yeah.
hockey guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll actually be at a show at the end of the month here. He'll be there, and they just gave him an action figure, and it looks phenomenal. And
Mm,
he does charge extra to sign those because people are flipping them so much.
mm.
But yeah, the goon would. I mean, I got a hockey puck somewhere around here that he signed when he did a live auction. He's just over the hill. He lives over there. But yeah, that's another great figure of just a hockey wrestler. Just that's another thing they should tap into for WWE is all those old, crazy gimmicks. Give those guys some royalties for
Mm.
the crap they had to put up with. I know they did like the Eyes of Yankum, but it'd
Yeah.
be cool to see a. I don't know. Well, I think they did the Gobbledygooker too, but like,
They just did. He's an Ultimate Edition.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just you know, throw some change to those guys.
Yeah.
Get us a Shockmaster. Give us a. I'm trying to think of anybody that's out.
I
Crazy.
would kill for a Giant Gonzalez, like a Mattel Giant
Oh
Gonzalez.
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep. I know he just had the couple. I think he had one from WCW too, if I remember right.
He had, yeah, I think he had like a Galoob. He had a Hasbro. He had a
Mhm.
couple of Jax figures.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, for the most part, Jax figures just don't look great with Mattel figures to me. Um, and I would rather have a lot of those guys as Mattel figures. But more than that, like, I'm thinking like some of the great managers. Like, what about like Slick? Like, I don't think they've
Yeah,
ever been a Slick figure.
I'd love a Teddy Long one after meeting him.
Oh
Him,
yeah,
him and I hung out all night when I did my first vendor table for the wrestling side of this. I was like, we just became best friends. He kept coming over, stealing my candy off my vendor table, asking us about our podcasts, and yeah, it was pretty fun. So,
he didn't try to get you in a tag match with the Undertaker.
no, no, everybody was waiting for him to say that, but he didn't do the classic line there, so
Uh,
it would have been perfect. So, but back to you. You are the star here. I don't want to keep talking over here. I know we're here for a reason. So,
no. Last thing I want to show, and it's because every time I do live streams or do anything where I'm like interacting with people, the question always comes up: what is your favorite figure in your collection?
mhm.
And I have a lot of favorites, but I've always maintained that there is one that sits on the very top, and this is an old figure and not a particularly expensive or like well remembered one. Uh, it is my Transformers War for Cybertron Soundwave, the deluxe version.
Okay.
This came out alongside the War for Cybertron game in like 2011, 2012 ish. I got this guy for Christmas. He was like the only Christmas gift I got that year. And it was the first time I had a toy of my favorite Transformer, that being Soundwave. And it was like, to me, this is the G1 cartoon Soundwave because I was watching that as a kid and that's what I wanted. But it's like this guy looks like a little bit meatier. He turns into a car. He's not that weird tape recorder because, I was born in 99. I don't know what tape decks are. um, but just everything about this figure still resonates with me because
Hmm.
there were so many points in my life where it's like I had nothing, like literally nothing, but I still had my Soundwave. Um,
Hmm.
and like to this day, if I got rid of everything else in the collection, if I got rid of every other thing that I own that is a toy, I couldn't part with this Soundwave because it's still like it is like the good parts of my childhood like encapsulated into one thing.
Hmm.
Um, because it is my favorite character. It's still my favorite version of Soundwave. I think there's been better figures released of him, but I don't think any of them are as good to me as this one is. And it's just special in that way. You can't, because like right, compared to the Batman, right, this Batman objectively is a way better figure, and it's probably going to be worth more someday, and it's probably going to be a lot more sought after. But none of that matters. Like when it gets to a point where you realize, like as a collector, that what you need to focus on is the stuff that makes you feel good. And
Yep.
sometimes that stuff that costs a lot and is very popular, sometimes it's not. And this Soundwave encapsulates that for me. This isn't a premier figure, it's not an expensive figure, but it is the best figure in my collection, and I adore it, and I'll always adore it for that.
Yeah, and that. Like you said, that's one thing that makes collecting so well or fun is that you get that little high because you find something or you buy something that has meaning behind it. Like I showed you off camera. I got this monster truck. Of Craig. It's nothing to anybody else, but this is one of the first things that my wife bought me because I kept joking that I wanted a monster truck. There's another story behind it, and she knows I love the Ninja Turtles, and she got me this. So like to me, this is my pride and joy of my Ninja Turtle stuff now because she listened, she cared, she knew that it meant something. So to me, it's just a monster truck to everyone else, but it's one of the first things my wife bought me, and I was like, that's pretty badass, and it's pretty cool. So
That's amazing.
and monster trucks are cool in general, but tie in Ninja Turtles and Craig, and can't go wrong there. So. Alrighty, is there anything else you want to show off? Anything you want to plug? The floor is yours as always. Here's the time to put those socials out there if you want, or where people can find you.
Yeah. So I'm always going to be on TikTok as Ron Bonda John. I also have the Ron Bonda John YouTube page. There's like all the toy videos on TikTok. If they're like worth watching, will get put over on the YouTube eventually.
Okay.
But the thing about the YouTube is I put longer videos there. So I put collection tours. I put projects that I do with friends. I do like more kind of just what I want to do long form over there. That's growing somewhat well, but I would love to see more people over there. I'm Ron Bon John on basically everything. Like I think I have an Instagram, but I'm never on it. But I guess you could check me out there if you want. But yeah, at the end of the day, like I'm just happy to like be on with someone else talking about this stuff. Thank you for letting me be on here, giving me a little bit of a platform, and it was really cool.
Yeah, and we'll definitely plug those socials, like I said, off camera. And if I miss any, send them my way because I'm here to follow. I'm here to stalk, and I mean, no, not stalk. No, that's the wrong word. No, I'm just kidding. I'm here to promote you as well. You're part of the little network that I'm building. And as always, people are probably saying this like I haven't done it yet, but we're going to start getting back to our first batch of collectors and start doing themes. Love to do a theme with you. We could do the wrestling. We could do the Pokemon. No one's come on for Pokemon yet, so that'd be kind of a fun one to dive down. I don't do any hard-hitting questions on here, but I got 3 of them for you. 1, we got to ask, what's your favorite Pokemon? 2 would be your favorite current wrestler. And 3 would be if there's one TV show or one, toy or something out there that you want to get into to collect, what would it be? For me, I want to get into Street Sharks or Mighty Ducks. So that's kind of what I'm trying to spit out there. Like, what's something you want to dive into next in your collecting?
All right. Favorite Pokemon. Like I'm literally looking at my shelves. I think my favorite. My favorite is either Gliscor, which is the Gen 4 like flying scorpion Pokemon.
Okay.
Or Typhlosion, because Typhlosion was my very first starter, and I still think it's my favorite starter. Favorite current wrestler. I'm very basic, but it's because I loved his dad, I loved his older brother, and I love everything he's done. I think he's legitimately the single greatest all-around performer on the planet today. It's Cody Rhodes.
Good answer. Good answer.
Love the American Nightmare. And a show. or toy line I'd like to get into. One I'm really trying to get into right now is like third-party Legend Scale Transformers.
Okay.
So for anyone who doesn't know, like third party is basically say like they're not made by Hasbro, they're not official, they're like just companies that are using those characters and images. Maybe not in the most kosher manner, but hey, there's no stop yet. And Legend Scale is to say like they're all very small. So like if a normal Transformer is this size, right? Legend Scale is like shoulder height with Bret Hart.
Okay.
And like they're all very tiny, but they're just intricate. There's a company in specific called New Age, which they just take like basically masterpiece level Transformers with like perfect screen accuracy and have shrunk them down to be like 3 or 4 inches tall.
Nice.
And I'm trying to get into those things right now. Like I have a few on the way, and I think I want to get even more, but I want to see how that goes first.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, Ron, we appreciate you coming on. As we say, we got to get you on for another episode. We'll have some themes behind it. We just want to get you acclimated with me as well as the channel and all that, just to kind of show you off in the beginning. But definitely we'll put those socials in the description as well as on the Friends of the Squared Circle page as well. So.
All right, that sounds awesome. Thank you so much for having me on, man.
All right, perfect. We're just going to flash the graphic how you can find us as well. You can find us on Facebook at Friends of the Squared Circle, as well as Twitter, YouTube, where we post up our wrestling content, as well as a huge shout out to Mike D and Wrestling from the 313, a new sponsor here at Show Me the Collectibles. So that's it. We're out of here. It's Crander Q. Crander Q out.